Wow, we got a weird episode this week.
Filler Central.
This is a prime filler. You are correct.
Including the terrible art quality.
Ooh, boy.
The art is rough.
Choices
Oof.
were made here, for sure.
Many choices, none of them good.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, hello, welcome to this week's episode of Jared and Al Watch. Inuyasha is episode number 93. I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Lady
Hello.
We are watching episode 92, or season 4, episode number 10, entitled Plot of the Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
But not that Walking Dead that you're more
Not that
familiar
Walking
with.
Dead.
Because that would be a much longer than 24-minute episode.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's a lot to get through, apparently.
I was trying to remember that door. I think what it's supposed to see is don't open dead inside, but it's don't dead. I don't remember what it is anyway. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Dead dove don't eat.
Dead dove don't eat. Don't know
I
what
don't
I
know
expected.
Yeah. We kicked this episode off, and Kikyo's just hanging out because she needed to show up here.
Mm-hmm.
And by show up, I mean she just shows up for 2 minutes in the opening and then the end.
Yep.
And that's it. She there's a lady on the ground by the riverbank. She's like, "Huh, that's weird. Would you like a soul?" And the lady's like, "Oh, whoa, get out of here, soul collectors!"
I don't want that.
I don't want that. And she's like, "You're Kikyo. Arrgh, angry. I'm gonna fly away in a spiral of fire, smoke, or whatever."
Yep.
And Kikyo's like, "How did you know who I was? Who was that?"
Who's that?
That was weird. There's a big battle happening on a stormy night, and these dudes are fighting these other dudes who are made of clay, and they're like, "This is messed up. We can't damage them. Oh no, this lightning's destroying everything. Ah, we're dying. Ah, no.
It sucks."
Inuyasha is hanging out with his pals, and they're at a camp, and he starts sniffing. He's like, "I smell herbs," and Moroku's like, "Okay, is that weird?" And I was like, it was like when we were fighting with Urasue. Remember her? She's the one who brought Kikyo back. And it's like, oh yeah, that happened a year ago.
Also, you were joking about how Kagome is the only one who is allowed to have a sleeping bag.
She's the only one in a sleeping bag. Everyone else is just in a
On the ground or sitting up.
or in Shippo's case, just laying on Kagome.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
So Inuyasha runs off to find out what's up with this. And Kagome's like, "How could this be? We watched Urasue die. We watched Kikyo murder her. That can't be true." We go back to the young girl who's leaping across the river, and then the clay warrior's like, "We're taking you with us." And she's like, "No, I don't want to go back." And Inuyasha's like, "I will save you. Let me break you." All right, nope, you fell down. And then everyone else is going to show up while all this happens. Let's fight these off a little bit, and then let's take this lady into our custody, and then we'll watch over her for a bit. They realize that once they beat up the clay soldiers, there are spirits coming out of them. They're like, interesting. Interesting. They also realize that the smell of medicinal herbs is on this lady as well. And they're like, "What does that mean?" And she's like, "Well, that means she's dead." So they leave this girl with Sango, Shippo, and Kagome, and Moroku, just to keep care of her,
Keep her safe.
keep her safe. Kagome gives us a recap of what happened. Apparently, this episodes were episodes 14 and 15.
Oh my God, really?
Which is a long time ago.
That is a very long time ago.
About all that. So there's that. Inuyasha's trying to find out where these clay dudes are from. And he eventually runs into this castle and has a little fight with the general of the castle and fights a couple of the clay dudes who have miasma in them, so we can't fight them for long.
No.
He runs away. The girl wakes up, and Kagome's like, "Oh, don't push yourself too hard. Just rest if you need to." And this girl's like, "Ugh, these meddlers. Ugh, just like the soul
Ugh.
collectors. Ugh." Kagome's like, "Oh, soul collectors? Did you see Kikyo?"
Nah.
She's like, "Oh, that was Kikyo. Interesting. I can't believe that was the woman who killed my mother."
And then we find out that she was apparently there during episode 14 and
Yeah, she
15.
was definitely totally there. I don't know what you're
Totally
talking
there.
about.
Totally there. Moroku is also like, you are beautiful,
Yeah.
but you're dead.
You should take this third chance on life and live it to the fullest. And everyone's like, "Yay, that's great advice, Moroku." And Shippo's like,
Oh my
"You're
god,
not
this is
fooling me."
the good Shippo
It's
face.
a really good Shippo face.
And then he's just like, look at the smile of Buddha. And it's like, Buddha's just sitting there like
Not even smiling.
stone faced. I was telling you, I always forget that Moroku actually is like religious
Yeah.
and has some kind of like religious training until he does stuff like this. I was like, oh right, he's a monk.
Mm-hmm.
I forget. He's not just a strange dude who hits on people and has a tunnel in his hand that he never gets to use.
It's true. It's true. We eventually learned that the dude that Inuyasha fought earlier and then this gal are both Urasoe's kids, quote unquote. She brought them back to life to help her with her bidding and everything, and she's like, "You're my kids now." So we have Kawa Ramaru, who is the dude, and then the gal is Enju. Kawa Ramaru was a warrior who was betrayed, and then Enju was a potter, and that's why she's the one who built the clay soldiers because she had to. She had no choice.
No choice.
She explains all that stuff, and then they get attacked by some clay soldiers, so the gang has to help fend them off and everything. So they fight them off a little bit, and then they spot like the whole army basically marching towards another castle, and they're like, "Well, there's like thousands of them. How are we gonna beat them?" And Kiko's like, "We'll just beat them.
We'll just do it.
We'll just do it."
Sure.
Inuyasha stops the army by somehow getting in front of them and starts fighting them, and then everyone else joins in on the fight. Inuyasha and Moroku are very concerned about the miasma for Sango and Kagome for some reason. And then they get to like the other side, which apparently is miasma free for whatever reason. I don't know. That's
What
a
I
thing.
love that he's like, this is even too potent for your mask that protects you from these things. I'm like, then why are you standing in it?
She's not even wearing it.
She's not wearing it, but like he's just standing there. He's like, it's too powerful. Like, my guy,
Ugh.
my dude.
Inuyasha wants to murder Enju because he's like, well, she made these things, so she's definitely bad. And Enju's like, yeah, you should kill me. Do it.
I want to die.
Do it. And he's like, well, about that, anyways. She goes to talk to Kaorumaru and is like, hey, I want to be left alone. Stop doing this dumb stuff. He's like, well, no, I want to do this because I want to take over the world. And none of these living people know what it means to be of the Walking Dead. Whoa. Kagome gets very mad at this and is like, no, she doesn't want to do this. So we get a little bit more fighting and everything, and then Kaorumaru jumps onto a cliff and brings out the demon from hell.
Also, there's just a horse that's like standing on its back legs for like a solid minute. And I'm like,
Yep.
powerful leggies that horse has. And then it disappears.
Yep. So this big demon who gets a big entrance and everything takes a cut on its arm, grabs Inuyasha, and this dude's like, you're gonna get squeezed to death. Moroku for the second time is like, I'll use the wind tunnel. And Inuyasha's like, no, you're not allowed.
No.
Oh, okay. And then Inuyasha just uses the wind scar and defeats both of these dudes and the whole army, and that's it.
In like 5 seconds.
Very easy.
Super easy. I was like, oh, that's all it took? Okay. All right. Easy.
Apparently they fling a bit of Kaorumaru's armor into the river.
Yeah,
And then Kagome and Inuyasha have this weird talk about life. How it's worth living and everything. We see Enju's working on a fire, which she's now, I guess, going back to being a potter. And then one of Kikyo's soul collectors comes in by. He's like, here's another soul for you. All right, later. And she's like,
Bye.
now I'm going to live life to the fullest this time. And then we just cut to Kikyo a bajillion miles away. He's like, live life to the fullest. Huh.
How'd she hear that?
It's the Soul Collector. Soul Collector came back and was like, hey, this is what she said.
Yeah.
All right, see you later.
Nosy ass snow soul collector. I can speak.
And that's how our episode ends. It was very bizarre.
It was a weird episode.
Yeah.
I think the best thing that came out of this episode was Shippo's face when he's
it
like,
was very
"Oh,
good.
we know what you're on about, dude."
That face and then the face when he was in the bike.
Oh, that was also good because he looked like he was just like zoned out.
Whoa.
Whoa.
We have a couple bits of trivia apparently.
Oh,
This
I
one,
don't think
this first one is wrong.
Yeah, this is not true at all.
But I'm gonna say it anyways, just so you know it's wrong. Moroku makes no attempt to flirt with Inju. That's a bold-faced lie.
Yeah, that is completely not accurate because he calls her beautiful and is like doing the whole Buddha thing. And
Yeah.
Shippo's like, we know what you're about, my guy.
This is most likely because she's dead, and therefore being lecherous would get him nowhere with her. Nah, dog, he would try regardless.
Oh, he would try. He would definitely try.
As is his anime only, a plot hole opens up. Kikyo only needed to collect souls of the dead to fuel her body due to only having a small portion of her own animating it. The bulk of it went back to Kagome. Enju and Kawamaro had their full souls, so they did not need this method. Okay. As Kawamaro has human generals, I guess we don't know if they actually are human generals.
Yeah, we don't know.
It's possible Enju is unable to create other specters like them.
What does that even mean?
She can only make clay people.
Well, yeah, but like, anyway, we don't know if they're human.
We don't. This whole thing's wildin'.
Madness.
Anyways, that's gonna do it for this week's episode. Next time we will be discussing episode 93 entitled "The Mysterious Lecherous Monk," aka Everybody Hates Moroku.
And more filler.
And more filler.
Yay.
So look forward to that. But regardless, that's going to do it for us this week. If you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Seasonal Anime Checkup OVA. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup, on Blue Sky at seasonalanimecheckup.com, and you can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, A Critical Analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. So join us next week as we find out why everyone is mad at Moroku this time.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with him being lecherous.
Nope, not at all.